Hi guys, this is John here from this channel, previously known as Mentally Interested. Now it is just called Learn Yakut because I'm focusing this channel on Yakut language, also known as Sakha or Haha language. I'm focusing most of my energy on my other channel, Studio Anderson. There will be a link in the description below if you like podcasts in English, conversations, uh, vlogs from me. I always recommend it to people learning English, provided they're comfortable with hearing a lot of different topics. I talk about things that are daily, normal, unusual, controversial, anything and everything. I talk to anybody and everybody, regardless of whether I agree with them or not, without any kind of vitriol at all. It's really fun, so check the channel out. On this channel, I'm just going to be making as many videos as I can, which will not be many perhaps right now because I got a lot going on, but I will try to make a video as often as possible and teach vocabulary and maybe some grammar in Yakut. Uh, I am learning Yakut language myself, although I consider myself understanding of the language enough to teach some of the basics. I'll always confer with native speakers, use native materials, and stuff like that to teach properly. Um, but what is Yakut? What is Sakha? Yakut is a language from a place called Yakutia, which is in Siberia. Siberia is in the Russian Federation now. Originally, it was its own region in most of Russia, the Russian Federation, most of it, Siberia and lots of places. The bulk of it was various countries, various kingdoms, various types of nations, and through the Soviet Union, through Eastern expansion, various things, Russia acquired a massive expanse of land, much of it only within the last couple hundred years. So in that way, it really parallels the U.S. When people talk about, invasions or, China ruling Tibet. Well, we rule Hawaii. It was its own kingdom. We rule Alaska, which had the native people, Eskimos or Inuits, including the Yupik people. And there are Yupik people, interestingly, in far eastern Siberia as well. Um, so the language is actually spoken in Alaska and eastern Siberia. The language of Yupik. This is not Yakut, and also an island in between. So it's interesting to learn the history about all these areas. There's a lot of different countries. There are still a lot of different cultures and languages. And they are considered their own nations or republics, kind of like we have Navajo Nation and different, Apache Nation, different countries when we have a Blackfoot Nation. In the U.S., in a way, they're considered their own nation, but they can do what they want, have their own laws, but border security and national security is still connected to the U.S. So you have a similar situation to that in Russian Federation. Um, the difference is to me is that for the most part in Siberia, the languages and the cultures are still very much alive. There's shows, there's movies, there's music on YouTube, there's movies on YouTube, there's books, poetry, and you will have tiny bit of that with Native Americans, but unfortunately, most of the language groups have either died off or been are now relegated to just speaking in the home among not even the whole population. With Yakut, you have the good fortune. If you learn Yakut, you have the positive point that it's widely spoken in Yakutia. There are also a lot of Yakut people who travel to other places in the world, so you may even be able to meet someone from there without traveling there. Um, I studied with a teacher on my own as well, but there's limited resources. If you speak Russian, there's more resources, but I'm learning Russian as well, and so I'm studying with a teacher who speaks English, and I don't know if she's interested in other students, but if you're watching this and you really want a Yakut teacher, let me know in the comments, and I will reach out to her and or other people that I know who could teach. Um, because it's a really beautiful language. So a little bit about the where Yakut came from. It's considered part of the Altaic or the Turkic language family, although the specifications of that will depend on what linguist you ask. Um, because anybody from Turkey, modern day Turkey, thinks that Kyrgyz, Kazakh, Yakut, Tatar, Mongolian, Kalmyk, which is a kind of a dialect of Mongolian, and almost anything that is considered remotely Turkic or Altaic or related to any of those language groups, they think that it is Turkey. It is Turkish. Turkey is the mother of all of this vast region, which is not true. It's sorry, Turkish people. It's a scam. It's a political tool that the Turkish government is using to try to assert dominance and cultural influence and political influence over a vast region that has many resources. Um, that said, there are a lot of people, Turkish or otherwise, who are interested in learning the similarities between Yakut, although they may sometimes go look at it from a biased point of view. But a lot of them are interested in looking at, oh, what is the vocabulary that comes from the same ancient Turkic languages? What are the similarities? Some of this is also because the Yakut people, some hundreds of years ago, lived in the Kazakhstan area. And they were driven out, they were not welcomed there at some point, and they moved north into Siberia, north of Mongolia. And they encountered, from what I recall from reading history, Buryak people, which is a Mongolian group, maybe Tatar. I'm not sure about Tatars because there's different Tatar people. I'm not sure at that time if any of them were that far east. But they encountered Evenks and some other groups of people that lived there. They had some military conflicts, and then they settled in areas, some of which were uninhabited and some of which were previously inhabited by other groups. And now Yakutia is the size of India. So it was its own country. It was later acquired, I believe, a couple hundred years ago by Russia. Um, and from what I'm told by people I know, this was done so with very minimal casualties or military force. Um, so yeah, that's just a little bit about the history. So you have the Yakut language has a lot of loanwords from Mongolian, although I don't think a lot of people there learn Mongolian. I speak Mongolian or slash learn it, so I can notice some similarities. For instance, the word Sol in Yakut means year, like a year of the calendar, and it can also be said like Zul, like Sana Zhulanang, New Year, Happy New Year. In Mongolian, you would say Jil. So Sana Jil, New Year, and in Mongolian, Shinjil. So there's some similarities. And same with Kazakh. There's a lot of words. Fish in Yakut is balak. In Kazakh, it is like basically the same balk. The final K is like a somewhat different K sound, but essentially the same word. Son or boy, wool in Yakut is, I believe, ul in Kazakh. Well, not ul, but ul. Maybe it is spelled the same, wool. I'm learning Kazakh and Yakut at the same time, so I'll have to bear with me. That said, I used native resources, ask questions, and guidance of native speakers who I know of Yakut when I make videos on this channel. And check my work with other people so I can make sure that even though I'm also a learner, I can help you guys learn with me and help fill the vacuum of Yakut language materials with reliable information and useful information. Some other similarities are numbers, certain colors between Kazakh and Yakut. This may be because they, were in that area before, so there will of course be some crossover linguistically. Again, Turkish people will say that they are all Turkish language dialects of Turkish, which they're clearly not. I can understand Kazakh fairly well in writing. I can read and write Mongolian pretty comfortably. I can understand without much difficulty in writing, and I have known Turkish people and looked at Yakut texts and Turkish texts. And yeah, you might be able to pick out a word once in a while, but it's really no more similar than I don't know, Tibetan and Korean or Burmese and or the better example, Mongolian and Indonesian. Like there's really no other than the fact that they're supposedly in the same extended language family. There's very minimal similarities, and I just feel passionate about this because I don't like to mislead people, but also because I've seen videos from Turkish people trying to look at Yakut or Kazakh and listen to it, and yeah, they might be able to pick out some words, but they'll sit there, start out like, oh, it's the same language, it's a dialect I can understand, and then they listen, and they're just picking out a couple words here and there, and sometimes they're right, and sometimes they're not. It's a different language. So, the grammar, though, will have a lot of similarities. With Kazakh especially, and also some with Turkish, and yeah, and of course some other related, like somewhat related languages. Um, so that's that. That's some similarities and differences with other languages, a little bit of the history. I would recommend anybody to learn Yakut. There's a lot of good source material out there to listen and read, and there's websites, news, movies, dramas, comedies, music videos, rap music, classical music, plays. I'm not really a play guy, but if you like that, there's some very interesting dress in their plays, like the clothes they wear. Um, Yakut is a very beautiful language, very beautiful culture. Uh, oh, and by the way, Yakut is like the name that Russians ended up calling them. I think it was based on a place name somewhere. But according to Yakut people, they call it Sakha, and sometimes they also call it Hakha, in their pronunciation. So Respublika Sakha is Sakha Republic, or Yakutia. The capital is Yakutsk, in Russian, and you can say Yakutsk in Yakut also, or you can say uh, Joskai. I'm blanking because I always say Yakutsk. That's the only unfortunate thing. If you do know Russian, even at a not very fluent level like me, it's really easy to throw Russian words in there, so just be careful. Um, you know. But they, of course, most of them know Russian, so and there will also be more materials available to you if you speak Russian. Okay, I'm just gonna go through a few basic phrases in Yakut to find in this video. Thank you guys for watching. Hello, Doroba. Um, what is your name? Atam Kim Jenny. My name is Min Atam. My name is John. Min Atam John. Um, what else should I say? Thank you is Baktal. Baktal. Uh, Bahalista is similar to Pajalusta in Russian. It means please, or in some cases, could mean you're welcome. Bahalista. And then we have Bir iki us. Bir iki us. Us. Which is 1, 2, 3, respectively. Yeah, and that's it. I'm just gonna just put those out there. I'll make more videos with vocabulary. I've done numbers, I've done colors, I've done basic expressions. I'll do some more conversation type stuff, some animal names, stuff like that, and share with you guys. Just again, trying to fill the vacuum because there's like nothing in English for learning Yakut. I mean, learning Yakut through like Russian. I mean, yeah, Russian, Korean, and French, and then well, except for with my teacher. So yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you. Bye.